A1 Radio and Dreams FM in Bogatanga, Jubilee FM, Sun City FM in Keta. We're also on Lolonyo FM in Hohoe. You can go digital, it's Spotify, Facebook, and myjoyonline.com. This afternoon, thousands still without their Ghana cards. The primary document for the SIM registration as deadline for all SIM cards to be linked with a card expires in 2 weeks.
Because it's not like people are not willing to do the card, but just that the process takes too long for you to get your card. So if they are taking our SIMs from working, it's going to affect a lot of people.
Meanwhile, many who have already obtained their Ghana cards remain in queues waiting to register after punitive measures were rolled out by the NCE last week. We hear from a pensioner in her mid-70s who's been struggling to get a mistake on her card corrected for the last 5 months.
You come here 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. They'll come and give you a whole lot of instructions. Do this, do that. The government should do something about it to let the old ones have their peace. We don't know what to do.
We hear from the minority leader who's demanding the NIA must be allowed to complete the card issuance before it is made the main document for registration.
But when you are not able to make that card available, don't hold me responsible for your inefficiency and irresponsibility in providing me with a Ghana card as a public good.
Also this afternoon, we are dying. Some Men's Gold customers pour on the streets in Accra to demand that President Akufo-Addo personally intervenes to retrieve their locked-up investments.
4 years down the lane, we have lost a lot of our people, not less than 185. Many are ill. There are many orphans. Children's future is in jeopardy.
Special prosecutor lifts ban on the auction of vehicles but provides guidelines on the process starting today. We have details in a statement by the special prosecutor. In sports,
the Ghana Football Association says it is committed to protecting the new football season from legal disruptions by unscrupulous persons.
And as government's deadline to construct the Pualugu multi-purpose dam inch closer, we'll tell you why the project is unlikely to curb the perennial flooding in the Upper East region as a result of the Bagri Dam spillage.
That it was to manage the flood from the Bagri Dam. Technically, it's not. It won't do that. Dams don't manage floods.
We have that and more in this afternoon's edition of the Midday News with me, Emefa Apawu. Many thanks for choosing us. We are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism.
Or better still, maybe if they can do something about the extension to maybe next year so that everybody will get his or a card before this thing will be done. Yeah. So I'm just pleading on the NIA and then the other authorities to extend the day so that everybody will get.
Well, this afternoon, thousands, if not millions of Ghanaians are still without Ghana cards. The primary document for the SIM registration as deadline for all SIM cards to be linked with the cards expires in 2 weeks. Many have left their work for days only to try and get their Ghana card issue sorted. The card is the primary document for the registration of SIM cards in Ghana. I'll take you to the ground shortly where our reporters are tracking both SIM card and Ghana card registrations. First though, here's the data on this. I'll take you through what we know so far about SIM cards. There are 42.1 million active cards in Ghana. Out of this, only 16.2 million of these have been fully registered. That's about 38% of the total active SIM cards in Ghana. Well, that leaves us with as many as 62% SIMs yet to be registered. And this information is sourced from the Communications Ministry's website as at the 20th of July. Many of them, though, blame their inability to obtain the Ghana card as a reason for not registering their SIMs. So what's the Ghana card situation? The National Identification Authority says it has captured the data for 17 million people in Ghana so far. And they've printed 16 million and issued 15 million to their owners. But some of those who have received their Ghana cards are having issues with them and have been camping at the Elwak Stadium here in Accra for days trying to get the cards fixed. One of them is this woman in her mid-70s who spoke to my colleague Joseph Akaple a while ago.
Very much frustrated. You come here 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. They'll come and give you a whole lot of instructions. Do this, do that. If you don't do this, we can't do anything. to reach here before, and I'm still here. They said they are coming to take the elderly people to do it for them. Still, up till now, we are here.
Must be
I think the government should do something about it. To let the old ones have peace. We are very, very much stressful. If you don't grow up, problem is it? Yes. Because if you say something, they say
of a 70-year-old woman at the Elwak Sports Stadium. They're interacting with my colleague Joseph Akable. He joins us on the line. Joseph, so that's one of many stories that we've been talking about. This is the story of a pensioner. Tell us about the other stories you've heard so far while at the Elwak Sports Stadium.
So there are individuals whose mobile lines have been blocked by the telecommunications companies following through the directive from the NCA. So they are trying to get their Ghana cards so that they can re-register their SIMs. And there are also others who have their Ghana cards, but for one reason or the other, they have misplaced and they are trying to get another one. It's simply a sort of frustration for all of them.
We are coming for our card, our Ghana card.
Does that mean that you've registered already, and when did you register?
I think the beginning of the year, probably March there. But when I came, they told me I have an issue with the card, white paper something. So they took the card, and then they told me they'll call me back for the card. So you can see there is a queue here, and then sometimes they don't just go according to the queue. There are people that will come protocol. They have to enter, and then there is misunderstanding. And then sometimes they give the cards to us. When we take them, it becomes invalid. You can't use it again. So you have to return the card again for them to work on it. And then it takes some time before you get to them again.
So it means that you've not been able to register your SIM?
No. And then they blocked my SIM too. And then you know that in Ghana, most of our works are on phone. You have to call a customer, talk to the person. Somebody has to send you money. And the network is not working. So I think we are pleading that they should do something about it, because it's not like people are not willing to do the card, but just that the process takes too long for you to get your card. So if they are taking our SIMs from working, it's going to affect a lot of people.
So from March till now, you've been trying to get a card and you still don't have it?
Third time coming here for my Ghana card.
Is that the situation for you as well?
Actually, I have registered already. I came for my card and they told me there's something called CSN they are supposed to do on the card. So they gave me a day to come. I went, came back, still not done. And they gave me a number to call. I called several times, no one was answering. So I came today for it again, and then I was told I have to join the queue again for my card.
So that's Joseph interacting with some persons who have gathered at the Elwak Sports Stadium to cross the first hurdle of this registration process, which is to attain or to get a Ghana card to be able to register their SIMs. Now let's talk about the SIM registration itself. And my colleague Pakwisi Shandov has visited some centers, joins us on the line. Tell us about the places that you've been so far and what the story is there.
The story is not any different. It's just a repeated narrative of frustration. Many people actually have already, they had already registered. However, they were also experiencing the challenges that were imposed by the NCA. So many of them from the places that we visited have come to, as it were, rectify the situation.
Means I know that's why they say we should register. And you know, we bunch. I know. Last week they caught our sinker ran out to we come because if you are going to withdraw money, you can't withdraw money. So we like present day I was top. So we come last week, people were born, so we'll go back. So today that we came back to see what people can do for us.
Okay, Bianca, it's no more some best at some blocking. Come on, train Mukakra, Snebe, a bimbe to me register Ghana card, no, BBR to me to ye.
Is it NIA, right? They should maybe get our cards, like the people that have maybe registered and then they have not gotten their cards. They should get their card before the deadline should be Or better still, maybe if they can do something about the extension to maybe next year, so that everybody will get his or a card before this thing will be done. Yeah. So I'm just pleading on the NIA and then the other authorities to extend the day so that everybody will get.
Thankfully, we've been hearing from the National Communications Authority on this. They've been rejecting blame for the unlawful blocking of SIM cards that have already been fully re-registered. Dr. Pokweduse is NCA's Director of Legal Affairs.
Well, the directive was that if you have not gone through the full processes, stages, the two-stage process to register, certain sanctions could be applied to you. But in applying the sanctions, it's possible there could be an overreach. In that case, that will not be our instruction that there should be that overreach, because we don't control the networks, which is in the private hands of the operators. That is definitely not within the province of NCA, because we don't control the network.
Well, IT expert Maximus Ametogo is worried about the efficiency of the self-service application, which could have helped ease the pressure on telecom operators.
For me, from the way it is designed, I don't think so, right?
Why?
Because you are not using it, you are not verifying the input against any database, right? And then if I capture my fingerprint or somebody else's fingerprint, how do you know that it's mine or not? And then when you're even capturing your picture, you can't even tell whether, you can't even edit the picture. You can't go back and modify it. You can't redo it. So the whole process is not properly designed.
While Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu says Ghanaians cannot be blamed for what he says is the incompetence of the National Identification Authority in the issuance of the Ghana card, which is the sole document for the SIM card registration exercise.
It is not the obligation nor the responsibility of any Ghanaian to work, to have, and to be denied a Ghana card. The responsibility is that of government to grant the citizens the Ghana card with ease and without hindrance and without any problem. We are not saying that don't use Ghana card. We are saying that complete the process well, ensure that every Ghanaian deserving to have a Ghana card has a Ghana card.
That's the Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu. Now, this afternoon, customers of defunct Men's Gold Company Limited have poured onto the streets in their dozens, like they've been doing in the last 4 years when the company collapsed. They have had no real results. This latest action is to demand that President Akufo-Addo intervenes personally to retrieve their locked-up investments, which they say run into millions of cedis. Kweku Asante is with the protesters. He joins us live with details from the ground. Kweku, please paint a picture of the number of persons who have turned up for this protest and what they've been telling you.
So a little around 100 people turned up for today's protest. It's unlike Men's Gold protest, which is usually in their numbers. They've been telling me that it's because most of their members are now losing their lives. They do not even have the means to come to this protest. And so they want the president to intervene personally to retrieve these funds.
People in Ghana know that Men's Gold customers, the system that we are in now is not healthy. Most of us are sick. Some of them has died. Some of them are not doing anything. So we are pleading to the Nanado Dankwa and his MPP government to at least return our money to us, because the money that we put it in Men's Gold is, we didn't put it there for any stealing or anything.
4 years down the lane, we have lost a lot of our people, not less than 185. Many are ill. There are many orphans. Children's future is in jeopardy. We don't know what is happening. So today, the message to the president is simple, that it is high time the president, he has so much powers. One of them is that he is able to show compassion according to Article 72 of the 1992 Constitution.
Now, Kweku, a petition was presented to the presidency. Tell us who received it and what's containing it.
So, Director of the Research and Innovations as well as Operations at the Office of the President, Lord Comey, received a petition on behalf of the president, who we know is in Ho, attending the bar conference. He said that government was committed to getting these funds for these customers.
I'm sure by now you have the records. Police 4, soldier 4. I'm a fool. I'm a fool. if you need the but send a but you are petitioning, and the key issues in your petition certainly would be looked at. I've been asked by the president to represent him and receive this petition. So on behalf of the President of the Republic, I received this petition, and I'm sure that whatever needs to be done would be done.
That's the Director of Operations at the Presidency there, Lord Kome, receiving that petition from the Men's Gold customers, reporting there from my colleague Kweku Asante. Now, the Special Prosecutor has given the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority the go-ahead to auction vehicles following the review of an earlier ban imposed on the exercise on August 19. The review, however, comes with some directives. My colleague Elton Brobe joins me in studio with more on this latest development. Elton, first, tell us about the earlier directive halting this auction of vehicles.
So for the earlier directive to the Custom Division, directed them to provide the particulars and clear description of all auction items, the quantity of all auction items, the price at which the items were auctioned, the date of each auction sale, full name, address, and telephone numbers of the successful bidders at all the auction sites. So this was what the Special Prosecutor directed the Custom Division of the Ghana Revenue Service to provide them.
Okay, and there's the latest on this.
Yeah, so what is not clear is whether these items have been provided, but the Special Prosecutor says that on August 19th, it directed the Commissioner of the Customs Service to discontinue all auction sales in aid of facilitating investigation to suspected corruption and corruption-related offences in respect of auction sales of vehicles and other goods by the Customs Division of the GRA. Now, the Special Prosecutor has reviewed the directives as follows. The Customs Division may commence auction sales of vehicles and other goods from today, Monday, 12 September 2022. The auction sales should be conducted strictly in accordance with legal requirements, especially the provisions of Customs Act 2015 at 891. The Customs Division should cooperate and work closely with the authorized office of the Special Prosecutor in respect of the investigation and the conduct of auction sales. However, as they've given this review, the Special Prosecutor says that it is still investigating the earlier directive given the Customs Division.
Okay, thank you very much, Elton, there with that communication from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. We turn our attention to the education front, and CTAG is acting in bad faith. That's the response of the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission to the decision by the Colleges of Education Teachers Association to withdraw their services or embark on a 28-day mandatory leave across all 46 colleges of education across the country. The teachers issued that notice that there will be no teaching and learning on campuses for the next 28 days. Let's hear from Prince Obinghim. He's president of the group.
The members want. You'll recall that following the reshape or the redesigning of the new academic calendar in the colleges after COVID-19, it became necessary for academic work to start from January up to December. What it means is that the same group of teachers will have to teach throughout the year without any form of break. And you can imagine somebody working throughout the year. When you look at the harmonized conditions of service for the colleges of education, which is our version of the 1992 Constitution of Ghana, it seeks to regulate our existence and our work and everything in the college. Section 10:16 pages 74 and 5 will tell you, and I quote, that academic staff are entitled to 28 days or 28 working days leave in the
That's the Prince Obinghim, president of CTAG. Meanwhile, after failed attempts to dialogue over the matter, the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission says CTAG is acting in bad faith. Professor Salifu is executive secretary.
I think I want to join in the frustration that over the action taken by CTAG. Indeed, at GTAG, we think that CTAG hasn't, behaved in good faith. CTAG left the meeting on the promise that they were going to engage their members and then get back to us. And the next thing we see is not even direct communication with us. It's a press statement once again declaring that everybody was going on leave. CTAG members were going on leave, which was quite surprising because it doesn't happen that way. It's not the union that calls members to go on leave. And yes, you are entitled to leave, but you will have to go through due process.
That's the Executive Secretary of GTEC there, taking us on a quick break here on the Midday News. When we return, we have sports, and then Attorney General and Minister of Justice calls on the legal fraternity to disregard what he describes as attempts by some characters to discredit the performance of the Electoral Commission in the last election, describing it as a demonstration of sound knowledge of the electoral process by the EC.
Also for the bar to resist the misguided and parochial efforts of certain characters to undermine our democracy through unwarranted attacks on the Electoral Commission.
He's also been responding to former President Mahama.
That the source of the former president's unjustified attacks on the judiciary is the unanimous dismissal by the Supreme Court of his rather porous election petition, which indeed, in my respectful view, was dead on arrival and bound to be dismissed by any court worth its salt in the country.
And I'll tell you more about our latest Hotline documentary, Dam of Promises.
That it was to manage the flood from the Bagre Dam. Technically, it's not, it won't do that. Dams don't manage floods.
I bet you thought you've seen it all. You must have thought you've watched it all. Gomorrah is a new exciting series about the conflict that rises between the wealthy and the poor. Watch Gomorrah exclusively on Aquaba Magic, DSTV channel 150, Go TV channel 101, and Aquaba Magic Ebusian DSTV channel 149 and Go TV channel 108. With as little as 50 Ghana cedis on DSTV access and 25 Ghana cedis on Go TV value. Gomorrah. Emre Dane.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. Time for sports. Musbao, what do we have?
For the Ghana Football Association says it will not allow selfish individuals to disrupt Ghana football calendar ahead of kick-off of the 2022-23 Bet Power Ghana Premier League. President of Ashanti Gold, Dr. Kweku Frimpong, secured an injunction to delay the new season after his club's demotion to Division 2, following their involvement in the match-fixing scandal with Interallies. Nonetheless, Premier League games went on across 7 match centres, and General Secretary of the GFA, Prosper Harrison-Ado, says the FA is prepared to fight and protect investment of club owners.
We ask clubs to do club licensing. People have invested the payment clubs pay to get water to water their pitches, get people to plant grass, water it, let it come, and dressing room. Look, what we have put clubs through to invest in their pitches, jersey, everything. And they do that, and then we allow one man or two people out of their own selfish interest, and then they attempt to spoil the game, and then some people look on. I will not look on. And we'll face this thing. In the coming days, you'll see. We'll face this thing squarely. The rules are there. Those people will be out of the game. Trust me, I'll put my life on it. We will not allow it. We will not sit down and the whole industry is shut down because of somebody's selfish interest. Anybody who disturbs the integrity of the game, we will drag him to whatever length. So I'm sounding the warning. The whole industry cannot be shut down because of one person's selfish interest. No, and Ghanaians shouldn't accept that.
Prosper Harrison-Ado, General Secretary of the Ghana Football Association. Later today at 4 p.m., Kumasi Asante Kotoko will be in action in the CAF Champions League game against RC Kadiogo. They're currently in Benin, and I'm sure for you're wishing them well.
Yes, we are. Come with me to the Volta region now in less experienced Ghana. And we know that the Ghana Bar Conference is currently underway. The Ghana Bar Association annual conference is being held in the Volta regional capital, and the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Godfred Yeboadame, has called on the legal fraternity to disregard what he describes as attempts by some characters to discredit the performance of the Electoral Commission in the last general elections. According to him, the outcome of the last elections demonstrates the sound knowledge of the electoral process by the EC.
This clear understanding of its basic duty to hold credible elections was firmly established when in 2020, under the most trying conditions forced upon the world by COVID-19, the Electoral Commission of Ghana remained unshaken in its quest to give to the people of Ghana an opportunity to select their own leadership. The Electoral Commission indeed rose to the occasion and delivered an internationally affirmed free, fair, and perhaps the most transparent elections in Ghana since the inception of the Fourth Republic in 1993. Such was the credibility of the election that the complaints of unfairness made in the Supreme Court by a losing candidate in the presidential election, strangely bordering on allegations of, I quote, wrong aggregation of votes and vote padding.
Well, you recall also that former President John Mahama, whilst meeting some NDC lawyers, raised concerns about the current judiciary. Well, the Attorney General has been responding, saying that such comments are condemnable.
that the source of the former president's unjustified attacks on the judiciary is the unanimous dismissal by the Supreme Court of his rather porous election petition, which indeed, in my respectful view, was dead on arrival and bound to be dismissed by any court worth its salt in the country. One cannot fail to note that his petition before the court in 2021 was a bundle of incompetent claims devoid of any substance. As stated already, the allegations of wrong aggregation of votes, and vote pardon, which he put before the court, collectively involved only 6,622 votes, a figure which could not in any way affect the outcome of the presidential election. It is therefore perplexing how, if such a petition is dismissed by the court, it should form the basis for an allegation of unfair treatment by the court. It ought to be understood that it is a duty of the court to administer justice according to law. The court is not a mercy chamber to serve justice based on sympathy or affection. I observed with even greater worry that the former president, who is a non-lawyer, made this comment at a meeting of the legal committee of his political party.
Well, that's the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Godfred Yeboah-Dame, will be bringing you the President's address of the Bar Conference subsequently as well. But let's head to the Upper East region now, and we're talking about the Dam of Promises. That's our latest hotline documentary, and we're talking about the Pualugu Multipurpose Dam, which is unlikely to curb the perennial floods in the region. Well, my colleague Albert has more.
When they construct the dam, we will benefit it. Because it will help us to farm after the rainy season, that's the dry season. So we are just needing them to come and do the dam for us, so that after the flooding and we harvest our beans, we can still farm the vegetables.
The Pualugu Multipurpose Dam project is a huge one and will benefit these people and thousands more if the government were to succeed in executing it. But according to Professor David Miller, there are many bottlenecks around the project which must all be resolved to avoid confusion and even conflict in the future.
Number one, that it was to manage the flood from the Bagre Dam. Technically, it won't do that. Dams don't manage floods. It's dikes that manage floods, not dams.
Well, a Dam of Promises will be airing later this evening at 8:30 p.m. on the Joy News channel. You want to catch it. That's our latest hotline documentary. And there's a pending judgment there of over 2.4 million cedis against the national broadcaster. I'm talking about the GBC. It is over the termination of the contract of its former Director General, William Ampim Darko. A court awarded the cost against GBC after Mr. Ampim Darko sued the National Media Commission for wrongful termination of his contract in 2011. Well, this is contained in the Auditor General's report. There's more in the following report.
The Auditor General, Johnson Ekuamoah-Sedu, said during his team's review of records at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, the GBC, they noted that the National Media Commission, NMC, being the appointing authority of the Director General of GBC, appointed William Ampim Darko as the Director General of GBC for a 6-year contract, effective 2nd July 2007 to July 2013. However, the then chairman of the NMC, Cabral Blay Amihia, terminated his appointment with immediate effect in 2011, 27 months before the expiration of his contract. Records indicated that Mr. William Ampim Darko in 2011 sued the NMC and attached GBC and obtained court judgment of 2,492,566.43 Ghana cedis in his favor, the burden of which is on the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. The GBC and NMC appealed the decision of the court in 2020. The audit team, on June 29, 2021, wrote to the National Media Commission requesting the Commission to provide the Auditor General with the basis for the termination of Mr. William Ampim Darko's appointment. At a said meeting, the Executive Secretary of the NMC indicated to the audit team that the Commission had appealed the decision of the court and the Commission would continue to explore all legitimate means before the case would be finally determined by.
That's a news desk report taking us to our Drive Safe campaign.
Safe driving saves lives.
And my fellow ladies, perform engine maintenance regularly. Avoid sudden stalls or other vehicle failure by changing the oil regularly and keeping tires properly inflated. I'm telling you to always check your engine in the morning before you move it. And that's how we wrap up today's edition of the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more on myjoyonline.com, and the stories making the headlines there. Blame telcos for unlawful blocking of fully registered SIM cards. NCA, the public purse Akufo-Addo promised to protect cannot even be found. That and more, myjoyonline.com. We have Living Word with Pastor Menzel Tibil. This afternoon, God is at work in us. You want to know more? Please stay for Living Word. I am Emefa Apawu. Many thanks for your company.